Hello everyone, this video I am going to talk about service mesh which is under decomposition pattern of microservices design patterns. This is very important to understand because it is very much used when complexity under microservices grows rapidly. So we are going to understand use cases and what are all the services and what are all the facilities and advantages that we get out of service mesh. So let's go ahead and get started with the use case when it is coming into picture. So these are the different components, different services of the online shopping portal: product management, order, account, payment, and login management. And this is the user interface that user is requesting something. First of all, user logs into the system. After login, it is, for example, it is trying to place some order, right? So where the request will go? Request will come to the order management. Suppose user has requested for particular product to put on the order list, so order management will pick the that particular product which user interface has requested from product management and will put that under order. Order can be the order to place that basket, or it can be base list that he's trying to prepare and will place order sometimes later. And after preparing the order, he is trying to do the payment and all those things. So order management will pass the request to account management to check the details of the user and subsequently will process the payment by payment management service. So this is how internal communication among services goes on. So user is just hitting the login management and the user interface that it has, and it is just selecting a order and placing the order. So internally order management is coordinating all the services like calling the product management, account management, and this payment management. So this is the internal communication. So the here in this diagram we have only 3-4 components. So this looks simple, that this communication is easy, but when this microservices cluster and number of microservices are growing rapidly, this is going to get very complex. In these scenarios, service mesh comes into picture. So first, see what are the challenges we are going to face when this is growing rapidly. This microservices, number of microservices is growing rapidly. So these are the few challenges. First, communication complexity. In real time, you will be having like more than one instance, like 5 instances of the product management, and account management will be also having multiple instances. So when order request is with order management, which instance to call, right? All those service discovery and failure, if any failure is coming, what failure, how to do failure isolation, if there is any configuration changes, how to do those configuration changes and these service discovery, and many more. How to handle all these in complex microservices architecture. Service mesh helps a lot in these cases. What is this service mesh all about? So first point, it is a dedicated infrastructure layer for service to service communication. So this point is very much important. It is just service to service communication, because you have sent a request a particular service, then that service how it is coordinating internally, all those things are taken care by this layer. It focuses on managing all service to service communication within a distributed software system, and because it's a dedicated infrastructure layer for communication only, so optimization is also easy. It's also a way to control how different parts of an application share the data among themselves, because any request that is going from service to service, it is going through a service mesh, so that we can control those data that is passing through it. And how it looks like, typically it is an array of network proxies. Previously we have seen about sidecar patterns. So when you combine sidecar patterns with multiple services, so it looks like typical array of network proxy. It is deployed alongside main service, and main service need not to be aware of this proxy. So the main application where you have all the business logic, it doesn't have to aware about this proxy that is being deployed alongside with it, and it is best suited for the cloud native application. Now let's see how it looks like and how does it work. So if you're working in a company and you are using a computer system provided by the company, so this is your computer, and if you are hitting something, some web address, suppose you are hitting youtube.com, so how request travels? first this request is going to the web proxy. And what is this web proxy? This is employed by your company for security reason. So any request going out, so first it is going to the web proxy, then it goes to the web server, and when web server is responding with response, then again it is being validated against the rule configured in the web proxy. If it passes that rules, only then it is being served to your computer. In the same way, we are using this proxies in service mesh layer. Remember this one from the previous video when we were seeing the sidecar pattern. We were associating our individual sidecar, the service with each service here, right? This is same with the service mesh. See the next diagram. Now it's like real mesh. Now we have these. This is the microservices and this is the sidecar. Now all the communication that is happening among these microservices is happening with these sidecars that you see here. I think the picture is clear how it is in real time. And service mesh is not only about sidecar. There has to be some controller like which can take care of these proxies and how to configure this, right? So next diagram going to help with this. There are two main components here. First is control panel and second is data plane. What is the role of these? So this control plane in a service mesh distributes configuration across the sidecar proxies in the data plane. So this sidecar proxy is a very important part here. So this is the particular service here. This is also a particular service and this is the particular service. And this is the sidecar proxy deployed along with the main application. And this is the service mesh control plane. If you have to pass any configuration to your service, that has to go through sidecar proxy. And this is what data plane, this one, this is the data plane, right? And any request is coming to instance A, B, C, all of these going through sidecar proxy. So all of these can be traced, these can be observed, whatever is going through the sidecar proxy. So now we can summarize the role of the service mesh, how many things it can do. So let's see that. First of all, it is doing the role of the service. First of all, it is playing the role of the service discovery, because particular instance doesn't have to take care about it, just have to say that it has to call particular this instance, right? And all of these how to call those, that is being taken care in the sidecar proxy. So that logic from the main application, main service has come now, is now in sidecar proxy. Second, in the same way, fault tolerance, if any error is coming in the main service, all of these things are going to taken care by the fault tolerance. Routing, observability, logging, monitoring, security, access control, deployment, all of these being taken care under sidecar. Now let's go ahead and see the pros and cons of the service mesh. Is it all about the benefits or there are some disadvantages as well? So it is a centralized solution for login, distributed tracing, login security, access control. All of these are reusable for different microservices. It is language agnostic for microservices. Agnostic means it can be in any language, Java, Kotlin, Groovy, anything. It is not dependent on that. These are the advantages of the service mesh. And cons: complexity grows with the when you are deploying this proxy thing with service mesh, right? So you can see earlier you had only one component microservice, but now for each microservice now you have a sidecar associated. So double the number of the instances, double the number of the application to take care, right? Extra network hop: when a particular service A is calling service B, earlier it was directly calling, now it is going through a service. Like if it is a A, it is a B, earlier it was calling directly, now it is going through a proxy. From here, it is going here, now here. It is now not here. So when it is requesting it something, so there are two network hop from here and from here. Two extra network hop are coming here. Service mesh concept and service mesh architecture is relatively new, so it is just getting better by the time. So if you have any problem coming into on the way, you have to, if you are not getting any community support, you have to take care of that. So before sending it to production, test it exhaustively in the test environment. So at last, I would suggest you that you go through these FAQ. This is the link for that. They have covered like multiple question answer type things about service mesh, and that's best to take. I have covered the basics, but you want to get more information, you just go through this link. You will get more information about service mesh. Looking into the implementation. So if I want to implement service mesh in my company, in my project, how I can do it? So these are the providers. You can get help from there. So Linkerd, Stio, Envoy Proxy, and Console are there. So you can take advantage from this one and implement the service mesh with these one, right? So that's all about the service mesh. This brief description about service mesh is the architecture and theory part only. In future videos, after the end of this architecture, microservices architecture, if I get time, I'll get chance to play around with this service mesh practical. I'll share that with you as well, right? So in the meantime, if you want to experiment with this, these are the links that you can explore. So what is next coming up? So we have covered all the decomposition patterns that are there. So we are just going to summarize in the next video. Next, wow. So what the hell is this? So this is a lot, right? Don't be afraid. You have gone through all this, right? So these are the just microservices patterns: decomposition pattern, database pattern, communication among services, integration patterns, deployment patterns, observability, and cross-cutting patterns. And we just finished this part, this one. Next, after covering the summary, we are going to take care of the database pattern. Don't get me wrong that why I have prepared this slide just to put things together, right? So you don't have to remember, because you are not preparing for some academic exam that you have to remember it, put all this. So these are the some real-time problem solving patterns that we face. And even if you don't want to go it, if you want to do the microservices architecture, one or the other way you will be facing these problems and you will be solving it yourself. Next video I'm going to talk about this summary, and then we will continue this one, CQRS saga and all those. So I was talking about the microservices architecture. Before ending the video, just want to show the like big companies like Amazon, Netflix, Uber, all those companies are there, how their infrastructure look like. You just go to the Google and search for Netflix, search for this one, go to images, this diagram, open this one. So this is from one of the presentation that has happened from the Netflix architect meetings and conferences, all those stuffs. See, this is how this is how it looks like, right? Number of instances of the microservices and all those stuff you can think of. You can search for the Amazon, Uber, and all those things. You can get the, see here they have compared. We got the Amazon also and Netflix also, right? And here if I come here, I can show you the Twitter also. When you have implemented your microservice, that's all about the business logic. But how to call these, how to isolate the failures, service discovery, on all those systems doesn't have to be part of the business logic, right? That is why they have been segregated into the service mesh, sidecar, proxy things, and being taken care by the ops people, DevOps people. So you just go through it and see the architecture of this, then you will realize how important service mesh and sidecar architectures are. I'll see you in the next video with the summary part, right? So till then, take care, bye bye.